Evening, it's Aaron with Bowtie Treasures. How's everybody doing tonight? This Saturday night, excited about what we're going to work on. It's a little personal because it's going in my house. We're going to be working on a decorative vanity sink cabinet that is going in our newer home, and it's going in a powder room. So I've already done some work on it, and I put it off a little bit, but I thought tonight would be a great night to finish it up. And I literally just changed my mind on what I'm doing, but I think it's going to work out great. The room it's going in, and by the way, say hi as you come in. Let us know where you're watching from. We're always happy to have you guys join us. But just to give you a quick breakdown of what we did on this piece, and I'm going to move out of the way so I can actually pull you guys a little closer because I think that's the fun part. But I have already put a coat and bar and then a light wash of vintage duck egg. And you can see the wash is actually visible, meaning I didn't do a really watered down. You can even see some drips happening on it. And I'm going to bring it in a little closer if I can. So you can see it literally was a pretty good wash effect on the piece, and it's been dry 2-3 days now. So I wanted to have a really rugged's the wrong word, but just a lot of personality to it. And right now I want to bring in, we're gonna whitewash. That's my plan tonight. Just straight whitewash tonight. That's what we're going to be working with. And notice that whitewash also is a glaze. Okay, it says right underneath glaze. What that means is that it's not paint. It's meant to kind of go on top of other products, and that's what we're going to do with it tonight. So in order for me to be effective with the whitewash, some things I like to do. One is have a brush to apply. And I'm using, in this case, a Dixie Belle's flat small. It's a 1-inch brush. And then I have a couple other brushes. One, I have the French tip brush, and then I have their newer La Petite brush. Either one can work. I just like to showcase these. These are natural bristle brushes. You can see the synthetics are more red, and the natural are more of a gold color. I like them because notice how on these, let me just put my water bottle there. Notice how the bristles are tapered, and that gives you a nice soft blend. So that's what we're working on, okay? I've been busy on our I keep thinking of the word, powder room, bathroom. I've been doing shiplap on it. And it's looking really good. I'm definitely going to post pictures when I get done of the whole room, and you can see this piece in there. So I'm not putting a lot. I like to keep this process a little bit on the wet side, so I'm using the mister bottle to keep things soft. Don't get too far ahead of yourself on it. If you keep it wet, it'll be more pliable longer. But I want to accentuate this decorative element, which I will come back later on. And let's use the French tip on this. I also usually have a wet rag handy, so I can remove some. If you have to, you can even go in there and wipe some out. And just to recap, I use sandbar and then a wash of vintage duck egg. So I'm just using the French tip right now to feather that whitewash. It is affecting the overall value. It's making the paint lighter, and that's okay. If I switch to the La Petite, it's just going to go a little faster and do a larger area. But this brush can also be a little too large for some small areas, so you have to figure out which brush is best. So you can see there how well that gave me a nice, I'm gonna see if I can bring you guys in. So you can see the whitewash happening in there, and if you need to, you can do some custom softening. It does take a little bit of finesse or time to kind of get a hand of maybe of how much to put on there, but it is very forgiving. You can wipe out, if you get too much, just wipe it out. Again, keep your nice wet rag handy if you feel like you're covering up too much. I really had thought about going darker, but I kept reminding myself that I have white shiplap in the room and I don't want to get too dark and moody with this piece because I don't want it to be overpowering. Let me just turn this. I have this cabinet on a little cart. You can use craft brushes for the small crevices if you want. So misting bottle, back to the French tip, and just soften it. Remember or notice we're not blending because I'm only using one product right now. And I'm just wiping a little bit of the extra off. I want to create somewhat of a vignette halo effect in certain areas. You can do this with paint, but I didn't really want to use something like cotton or fluff. The whitewash is a really great product. To order paint, if you don't have a retailer near you, I'd love for you to use my link that I posted so you can get some of these great products. And I'm showcasing a few tonight with the brushes, the paint, the gilding wax, all good stuff for your projects too. So any of the glazes would work the same way. Like if I use the Van Dyke brown, it's the same consistency. It feels it's gonna feel a little, sticky may not be the right word, but it's gonna have a little different consistency because the glaze has a little bit of top coat to it. So you might see that the sheen's a little different when it dries, but as long as you're coming back and finishing it up with whatever you like to finish your projects with, it'll neutralize and unify the whole piece. You do want to be careful not to keep spraying. Like if I spray here, that spray could get over here, so sometimes you have to be a little careful. But right now I'm just using the wet rag to take off any extra I don't want, because I don't want it all to be white. So it's very subtle, but you're getting a little bit of a highlight in there. This will also, what I would consider, it'll also tone down the piece a little bit. So if you have a very stark paint technique, the wash or a glaze can tone that down a little bit too. And I'm just going to go ahead and mist where I want to work. And I'm keeping everything in my hands because I'm working pretty quick. I'm going to even go into the details a little bit because I want the white to be inside. I'm not doing a good job getting it in there. Let me wiggle my brush in there a little bit more. I don't want to hide all of that really cool wash work I did. So just trying to get it in there a little bit. I could do a chalk paint wash on this to go into the cracks, but I'm trying to let the whitewash do that work. And so far, it's doing pretty good. When you go into the washroom, bathroom, this will be huge statement piece. Let me go back to the La Petite brush because I like the size of it. This will be a wow piece when you walk in, loads of character, custom hand painted. You know, it's not a factory finish, it's just one color. Very cool. But the white is giving it a nice, soft, not necessarily elegant, but it'll feel elegant when I get the, 'cause. 'The gold on there. Use the brush whenever you need to wipe off areas that you didn't want. It's very forgiving. It's not fast drying, especially since I'm misting a little bit, but I don't want. So now I've got a nice vignette happening on that piece. Let's do some more across the bottom. I'd like to bring out these details. Not super critical, but I definitely want to see them have a little bit of that, and then I'm going to probably still come back with metallic. So just putting a little bit of glow in there. The nice thing about the glaze, it has a longer drying time and it's more forgiving than paint, although I really like shading with paint. But you're going for a different effect when you're using a whitewash anyway. So what I just did there was mainly just to push the whitewash into the cracks, and then you can come back with your wet rag and wipe off and leave the whitewash in the details. So that's another technique you can try, and just keeps it nice and soft. All right. Turn to the side here. I'm not going to do much. I guess we should try put some in there. Let's see what happens. All right. I'll probably do the feet off camera because I think I'm going to have to get on the floor, and I can't imagine that that would look too much fun on camera with me laying on the floor. Normally I like to put my projects up on a table, but with all of the weight of it, I really didn't want to lift this cabinet onto the table. If you're not following me, I'd love for you to do that on the social media and check out my different social media opportunities, I guess, what I call. Not sure what the official term would that be, but I'm on Dixie Belle's page about 3 times a month, always showcasing some fun techniques, things that you may not see around. Or you might, I just give it my own twist, I guess. Really nice. I'm running out of fingers to hold everything. I need to get like a little, I actually do have a tray. Where did I put that thing? Where I can just put all my stuff down, but I am moving fairly quickly, so whatever amount of glaze you want to put, however much you want to wipe off, the technique is fairly consistent from one area to another. Just keep an eye on it. It looks like I put a little bit more than I want down, so I'm going to wipe some of it off. Not a problem. Still forgiving. If you don't have all these brushes, you do what you can. I'm sure you could probably use like an oval small to soften, maybe a mini. I'm just showing you what I'm using right now. So let's do the inside. And I'm going to push again the whitewash into the cracks. Try to force it in there a little bit. You can see the sandbar color in there. So even if I don't get a lot of whitewash in there, I'm still getting that effect. I'm just pushing it a little bit more. Okay, set that down. And I'll use the brushes to soften it. Just take your time. I'm moving quickly because I'm trying to get it all done for you tonight. There's no rush. Hopefully you like that. That looks looking good. On this technique right here, my advice is a light hand. Just don't push too hard. Not that I'm messing up anything, but just a light hand, let the brush do the blending, and then call it and move on to the next technique. Okay? A little bit right there, let it take out. I don't want it to be too wide. All right. So far it's coming along. And if you forget, I put them into the post so you can reference it later on. By the way, if you ever want to see, and you've missed some of my previous Dixie Belle lives, a couple options you can do. One, you can go to Dixie Belle's video section and search for Aaron. I put my name in all my videos so you can reference it that way. Or you can go to my website and look under the lives menu, and you can, I have a page just for Dixie Belle lives that I try to catalog most all of them there. So that's another way. Ambassadors and content creators and those that go live, we put a decent amount of work into preparing for these, so I hope that you can benefit and learn from them. And I just try to make them easier to find by cataloging them in one place. And Dixie Belle's video library is very extensive, so if there's ever a technique you wonder if someone's covered, you should check out their videos. Don't hesitate to pass this on to a friend who might be considering this technique or this medium. Whitewash is very easy to use. I use it probably once a month at least. And, you know, that's not a scientific calculated number, but it kind of feels that way. You see how I just put the whitewash in there, put it in there, and then just wiped around and left the rest in there. So that worked out really well. Move this back a little bit. Then we'll do the bottom. We're almost done with this side. So let's do this one section all the way down. So what I'm doing right now is totally just mainly highlighting, or I'm just bringing out, I don't want to, if you look closely you'll still see all the washes. That's the fun part. I'm not taking any of that away. And I say this a lot, but one of the things that makes painting fun is when other people may just, other artists would enjoy the process and like how you accomplished it. In other words, they know how you got there. There's a lot to look at, so that's really cool. But with any of my projects, you kind of have to have a little bit of patience, because you know it's going to really come together at the last step or two. So you just have to get through all the different processes and steps. So if you're one who has patience, then I definitely encourage you to try multiple layers and techniques, because your pieces will be more interesting and, well, one, more valuable, I hope, but more interesting, more enjoyable to do. Because I could have just painted this two colors, called it a day, and it would have been fine. But so here's where you can be messy again. Just get the white wax in there. Whitewash. And then wipe it off. There's probably other ways of doing that, but that works really well. So I cleaned it with White Lightning and then bossed it. I think it was gray boss, for sure. I want to be careful here. I just put some whitewash over where I already worked. You can do multiple layers of whitewash. It'll just get whiter, and you can make it as intense as you want. Whitewash is a great product. You may not see it demonstrate a lot, but I know I've highlighted a few times on my live, so I hope that you've been exposed to it enough to know what it is. If not, welcome to Whitewash. Here we go. So I'm just going to quickly give this a little spray. I haven't really needed a lot of water at all. Sometimes I think I do it out of habit. And probably putting on more than I need, that's okay. So you can see right here, hopefully, where I've left more of the vintage duck egg showing through. If you're just going to cover the whole thing with whitewash, I'm not sure whitewash is the right product for that. All right, looking good. Hopefully it's coming through okay on the video, how the whitewash is working. Just almost done with this side. And then we will take a look at seeing what Gilding Wax can do for us. If you haven't checked them out, there are 6 Gilding Waxes, reformulated, beautiful products. I will probably always be saying that gold is my favorite because it is. And but I just used silver on the client's project, the desk I just posted today, and that was really nice. So in this section, we're going to transition to using Gilding Wax, and this is the section of the vanity that I will feature, the gold Gilding Wax. You can apply Gilding Wax with multiple types of techniques, brushes, your finger, a sponge, but for this demonstration, I'm going to spend most of my time using a brush, if not all of my time. The Gilding Wax is a paste, so it's really thick. You don't need a lot on your brush. You can see me wiping it off here. This will allow you to apply it nice and easy wherever you want it to go. Now, here's where I'm going to get a lot of questions, but I have no problems adding the wax before I top coat. You just need to let it dry really well. For me, I like the process of doing it now because I'm in the mode of doing it now. You know what I mean? I'm already working on it to stop and top coat. Because what if I don't like it? What if I want to paint over this? I don't want to have to worry about. So anyways, you'll see plenty of opportunity where top coating after is the way to go. That's fine, go for it. Just make sure that if you're going to do it like I'm doing it, give it plenty of time to dry because it is oil-based. But once it's dry, it'll top coat. What do y'all think? I'm loving the gold. It's highlighting the faucet that I got at IKEA. We saw it one day. We had already bought this and we thought, we got to get that. Kind of an old world style, but so you can see how the brush just kind of gets me more control, and I can get the Gilding Wax where I want it. Not that my finger couldn't do this, but some of these are deep and I can't just get my finger in there. One thing I will tell you though, well, actually, at least for me, the gilding wax is so strong, meaning it grabs so well that you need to be accurate and precise to a certain degree, because it doesn't, you know, it's not huge to wanting to come off, which is kind of good. You don't want your gilding wax just to fly off. If you want to experiment and play around and be able to wipe it off, and then I would go towards the mousse side. The mousse, gemstone mousse, are water-based and they can be wiped off a lot easier. So if you're into that, then I would recommend you try that. And it's the same situation. You can top, but I would probably do that after top coat. Here, it's like putting on sticker metallic. You have to be too glamorous because it's going with shiplap, but I went online today and saw plenty of people doing gold and shiplap, white and gold. So I'm very confident that this is going to look good. And again, it'll be a statement piece in the room when you walk in. You know, the powder room is for the guests, right? I mean, they're the ones who are mostly going to use that. So that, why not have a statement piece in there? And when they walk in the door, this will grab them. Say, come on in. Nothing but the best for you here. So this is a little repetitive from a standpoint of, you know, I'm just decorating hardware. And I'm just using a craft brush. And the main reason for that is because my finger cannot get into all the crevices where I want this gold to go. But I will tell you, because I love gilding wax, the old gilding wax, you could not do this. You could not paint like creamy butter. You could not paint it. And so now to have gemstone mousse and the gilding wax, it's been really great, especially for details like this. And hopefully you can appreciate, if you've used it before, you can appreciate, I'm trying to tighten up my camera, how nice it is of a product. Okay. If you guys want, I'll just stay on for a little bit longer and do this one here. And hopefully those of you that are catching the replay, let us know. The size of craft brush you use, I would say, should vary based on the size of the decorative element. This one is working really well. Do remember it is oil-based, so it's not like I can just... I don't normally use any kind of oil-based cleaner on the brush after I'm done. Just kind of clean it off with some dish soap. Does pretty good. Not that I really use these brushes for much more than stuff like this. But if you have a favorite really nice brush, I don't know if I would recommend throwing gilding wax on it, unless you're going to clean it with something that would break down the wax. All right, well, I think that's it, guys. We didn't do a lot of techniques, but hopefully helpful techniques to showcase the white wax, the whitewash glaze, and also the gold gilding wax. And I'm a huge fan of both. and I hope you get a chance to try it on something you're working on. As always, thanks for joining me tonight. I'm happy to demonstrate. Looking forward to the next live. You guys have a great weekend and do something awesome with something creative, especially with some Dixie Belle products. Y'all take care.
That's the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell before you go. Bye.